Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I was out in this Audi SQ5 filming a review when my phone rang. I got a phone call from a trader friend of mine who's offered me a Bmw 118 diesel M Sport for just £2.5 grand. And because I never learned my lesson and I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment, I said yes. As I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of the Bmw 1 Series. I like the hot versions, but the regular ones just leave me feeling cold. But they do always seem to sell well, so for once I'm going to rest my opinions to one side and concentrate on business. So I bought it. Obviously I haven't seen this particular one yet, but I do know a few things about it. I know that it's silver, shock. I know that it's got a black interior. I know that it's a 118D, so it'll use a 2-litre turbo diesel engine, which can suffer with timing chain issues. I know that it's done 114,000 miles. I know that it needs a little bit of paint, and I know that I've paid £2.5 grand for it. So I'm thinking it should be worth £4 grand, £4.5 grand maybe retail. With a few £100 spent on it, it should be worth my time and effort. Being the small diesel engine, this will probably do 50 miles per gallon, and it's probably only £20 or £30 a year to tax, so I can see the appeal. The trouble with the 1 Series though, and the same is true of the Mercedes A-Class and the Audi A3, they're usually bought by young people for one reason, and one reason only, and that's the badge. They just want something to impress their friends, and they never seem to maintain them correctly. Then by the time I get round to buying them, they usually have years of deferred maintenance, and they usually cost me an arm and a leg to sort out. I guarantee this one will be long overdue a service. It'll have odd part worn tyres, it'll probably only have one key, the radio station will be set to Capital or Unity, there'll be McDonald's wrappers in it. I just know that'll be the case. I've been here too many times before. Anyway, let's go and have a look around it, shall we? I hope I'm proved wrong on this occasion, but deep down, I know that's going to be the case. Right, I shall see you there. Well, we're here. It's got upgraded alloy wheels. They're the 18-inch twin spoke M Sport wheels, I believe. There's a bit of damage to the front bumper. Nothing we can't sort out, but it just looks a little bit unloved. Here comes the rain. It's got those horrible wind deflector things on, which I detest. I saw them once in the comments section of a video referred to as vape vents, which I thought was quite accurate and hilarious. There's a bit of damage to the front wing there. It's missing its tow and eye cover, which I always hate to see. That always worries me. It means it's been towed in somewhere, usually. It's just very grubby. It'll make a car, I suppose. It's got front parking sensors, that was an option. So it'll have front and rear PDC, upgraded wheels, so there is a little bit of spec about it. There's no xenon lights. We've got several air fresheners dangling from the rearview mirror, which is probably the full extent of the car's maintenance. Right. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Creating problems. It's crying out for a set of reg plates and a good buff. Right, let me check it out on Car Vertical. So as always, before you buy a used car, you must check its history. It isn't expensive to do one of these checks, and if you click the link below in the video description and use a promo code HIGHPEAK, you'll get 10% off each and every vehicle check that you do. All you need to do is go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg, which is Yankee Delta 61, so it's from Yorkshire originally, Zulu Kilo Charlie. Check vehicle. This is currently checking millions of cars in dozens of countries. It'll tell us whether it's ever been stolen, has outstanding finance on it, whether or not it's ever been involved in a recorded accident, all that sort of stuff. It'll also tell us whether or not it's ever had a mileage rollback, along with all its previous MOT history, sometimes service history. It is a very thorough check. I stopped by the garage on the way here for the key, and it is unfortunately key singular, not keys plural. So that's the first sign this car hasn't been loved. Right, and the report is ready. So, no mileage fraud was disclosed by the report, it's never been stolen, never been involved in any accidents, and there's no outstanding finance. So, we're all clear on those fronts. It's a 2011, late 2011, registered in the UK in September 11. It had a private plate, our Kes. Then, ownership changed, it had an MOT, failed an MOT, failed an MOT, advisories. This isn't what you want to see when you buy a used car. Ownership changed again. Ownership changed again. So now we're on, what, 4th, 5th? It's had quite a number of owners, this. The last MOT was done at 108. Before that, it had done 101, 100, 94, 90. Okay, so the mileage is consistent. And that car's now 12 years old, isn't it? Or 11 and a half years old, so 114 isn't particularly high, I don't think. The approximate market valuation of this car when the seller's a company is £4,379. So exactly what I thought. It is a 118D M Sport 2011, manual 5-door. I skipped right past the current MOT, didn't I? Has it got an MOT? Oh, there we go. Right, so it's MOT'd until May next year, and there were some advisory items. Surprise. Front exhaust has minor leak of exhaust gases. Okay. Rear tyre worn close to legal limit on edge. Lovely stuff. And front brake pads wearing thin. Not the end of the world, that, is it? You would hope, as a dealer buying something like this, that I'll spend £300 on it, so it'll owe me £2,800, and then put it on at £3,995 or £4,295, something like that. But straight away, I know my spending is going to be much higher than that. We've got a few £100s worth of bodywork, wheel refurbs, valet, service, MOT. Also on this car vertical check, it gives you a checklist of common issues. So if you're not that au fait with cars, this could be quite useful. It's telling us here, number 1, check the condition of tyres to detect suspension and frame issues. Beware of head gasket failure. Check all fluid levels, check colour of exhaust smoke, check the brakes to indicate rotor and pad condition. That's an American thing, that, isn't it? The brake rotors, or brake discs. In UK, check for bad signs of suspension bushings. Right, let's go and have a look around it then. I'll give you a tour. Then I need to take this car for a wash because I've been driving it in the snow and it is filthy. I've enjoyed driving this though. If we're quick here, we might just avoid the rain. The rain, I said, not Lorraine. So straight away, we can see these wheels need refurbishing. What brand have we got? We have got a Westlake on the back. No expense spared here. It's on about 4mm of tread. Some bodywork damage here, some scratches. Got these hideous wind deflector things. Who thinks they're a good idea? Just don't understand. On the front we've got more body damage here. Nothing serious, but it does need attending to. The tyre is a Rodex, another quality brand, on about 3mm of tread. The brake rotors, they're actually quite smooth, they're not lipped at all. Again, the wheel wants a refurb. Down here, yeah, we're missing its tow and eye cover. It's had a slight nudge into something, enough to crack the plate and crack the bottom part of the valance there. The valance, the skirt thing around the bottom. 3 points for anyone who got that Alan Partridge reference. Look at the colour of that wheel. Have we got another Rodex on this? Oh, we do, Rodex. Matching Rodex. This needs a very, very good clean. All these little marks should come off. What about on the back? Have we got a matching Westlake or a matching Rodex? Oh, Westlake. I'll tell you what, this has been lavished with money, this car. That'll buff out. Around the back we've got more paint. That one's painting. Sort of crazed, hasn't it, the paint? Oh, we've got another missing towing eye cover. I don't know whether this has been pushed or pulled. Has it been the tower or the towee? So we've got front bumpers need painting, wheels need painting, front wing needs painting. What a turd. Central locking works though. Inside we've got, it's very dirty. It stinks actually. It smells dirty. Just a dirty smell. This isn't a bad spec because, like I suspected, they're the 18-inch twin-spoke M-Sport wheels. We've got front parking sensors and rear, although if it's had a bit of a nudge I don't know if they'll work. We've got powerful mirrors. We've got part leather upholstery. These are all optional extras. So not a bad spec. Automatic lights, I think that was an optional extra. Moving around to the back. Look at the state of this. Who keeps a car in this state? What an absolute bucket. That needs a bit of WD-40. What delights have we got here? That should go there, I think. Triangle. Oh, we've got another vent here, another vape vent. is gross. I don't even know what that is. Is that a baby's bottle thing? I don't know, thankfully. Gross. More mould and moss there. Oh dear. Look at all the... Did you see that then? Hang on. Look at all the filth everywhere. No heated seats, sadly, which I could do with on a day like today, because it keeps trying to snow. They're not doing much good, are they? We've got an auto-dimming rear mirror, I think. Don't know whether that's standard or not. I wouldn't have thought so, because it's BMW and they don't give you anything for free. Oh, lovely. Well, I was wrong about the radio station because they've been listening to 105.4. What is that? That's used to be Century. Oh, it's Heart now, isn't it? Tune that, to be fair. It's been smoked in because we've got an abused cigarette lighter. This whole car is abused, isn't it? Abused. This, I know you say I'm judgmental, but this is like every single used 1 Series I come into contact with. Just an abused thing that no one's looked after. And I've just spotted, I was right about one thing. There's a McDonald's fry down there and a McDonald's ketchup sachet. What did I tell you? This is foul. We've got a toolkit which is missing some bits. This is probably the full extent of the service history, this little bit of paper. Let me have a butcher's. A Bosch test report, 3 pages of. Don't know what that means. What's this one? The current MOT. That's it. Skipton, BD23. No service book. No book pack of any description. And yeah, we've got a ramp light on. Service overdue. It's been due a service since September 21, which was nearly 2 years ago. Bulb out. Low on diesel. What an absolute rat car. Start, stop, failure. Ramp light. Wishing I'd bothered now, really. Shall I look under the bonnet? In fact, can't be bothered. It's raining. Doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, let me snap out this. Come over like Eeyore, all depressed. Should take it for a drive and see if it drives. That beep's annoying, isn't it? I've just noticed walking back up to it, somebody's fitted some hideous blue aftermarket lights. They've done that, but they haven't serviced it. Which again, sums up 1 Series owners for me. Style over substance. That's what it is. Right, my handbrake is off, but the car is telling me that there's a fault with the parking brake. I'm guessing it'll be overdue a brake fluid change. I'm hoping that's all it is. I'll go easy on the brakes just to make sure that they don't fail on me. They feel all right, to be fair. Could be a sensor, could be a fluid change overdue. We've got cruise control. It's another optional extra. Right, what can I tell you then? Say what I see. The clutch feels all right, it's not rattling. So my flywheel's okay. Changes gear all right. We've got a nice fat chunky M Sport steering wheel. It feels a little bit loose on the front end over bumps. Like suspension's a bit worn out. Like it's done 114 hard miles without any TLC whatsoever. Can we spin the back end out here? Oh yes. Right. Well, it pulls okay. My old Westlakes on the rear wheels have provided me with some grip. The seat's quite low. So I'm guessing the previous owner might have been carrying a few more pounds than I. I'm getting a slight sort of bit of wind noise, like the rubber seal around the door's perished. What do I do with this? What do I do with it? People really want flogging for looking after a car like this, or rather, not looking after a car like this. I think first things first, I shall run it down to my mechanics, leave it for a PDI, a pre-delivery inspection, an oil and filter change, sort out the brakes, and get it through a clean MOT with no advisory items. Then take it for paint, then take it for wheel refurbs. What I'm going to spend on this? It's probably going to cost me £300 at my mechanics, £300 at my painters, and a couple £100 on wheels. So we're up to £800 already. It owes me 2.5. Sorry, I'm just doing some calculations here. 2.5. So it'll owe me 3.3. It could be worth 4.3. So there's a grand. Look at these. I'm sick of sharing my village with these feral scroats on scrambler bikes with no plates. It really winds me up. And all of a sudden, there seems to be a spate of, I guess it's county line sort of stuff. I'm always behind a car that just looks a bit dodgy with 3 lads in. So I'll check it on my little reg checker. And it always has an expired MOT and no road tax. You just know it's up to no good. We need more police. That's what we need. Anyway, I'm getting distracted here. Well, it actually drives okay. It goes into every gear, doesn't crunch. I've got no warning lights on apart from the brake light. I've got no engine management light on or anything like that. It's crying out for a set of wiper blades. They're a bit smeary. How's my back one? Smeary, you guessed it. They're annoying me. I think that's a stirrer from a McDonald's coffee. Lovely. I think it might need some suspension work on the front as well, some new bushes perhaps. It's not knocking as such, but it does feel a little bit loose. Having said that, it's done 114,000 miles. Well, my windows work. Oh, frost warning. It is trying to snow constantly. Do my power mirrors work? What a surprise. No, they don't. Why do people never look after their belongings? We were never taught by their parents like I was. My sensors don't work either because I've just ran right into a... I've just backed right into a fence because my rear sensors don't work. Joy of joys. This is one of those cars that is almost not worth fixing. Might not look that bad to you, but I know what it's going to cost me. And is it worth it? And then who are you going to attract when it's done, really? Let's be honest. You're going to attract somebody else with no money who will drive it like they've stolen it, and they won't bother to service it either. Then it'll break, and then they'll get all aggressive with me on the phone, as is often the case. Why do I bother? Right, on that depressing note, I shall catch up with you in a few days' time, once I know a little bit more about this heap. Cheers, guys. Thanks for keeping me company on this depressing, cold, horrible afternoon. Adios. I'm fairly sure cars were just put on the planet just to test my patience. This 1 Series has definitely done that. After we last spoke, which is probably 2 months ago now, I took this down to my mechanics and I was expecting that phone call to say, this isn't the nicest car in the world, you're gonna have a big bill. But that didn't happen. You know, at the start of this video when I drove it, I thought this is either going to be one of those cars that I spend a fortune on, or I should just flirt off within the trade. Either take a small loss or a tiny profit and move it on. So you can imagine how surprised I was when my mechanic called me to say, right, that 1 Series is done. I said, really? Did it not need an awful lot of work? She said, no, it was all right. So, all right, well, that's the strangest thing ever. It had a service, an MOT, the usual sorts of stuff, but my bill though was only about £300. So I picked it up from there and took it over to the body shop, and once again, Jimmy's done a really good job. I'll go through the exact details of my bills in a second, but he turned this car around. And I think now, considering it's a 12-year-old car done 114,000 miles, it looks really bright. From there, I took it over to my upholstery guy, who replaced the driver's seat bolster. If you remember, that was all ripped. And again, looks like new now. Then I took it to the lads over at Tameside Valeting for a full detail clean. And then when I went to go and collect it, it looked like a new car. And I thought, I've had a result with this car, really. At that point, my prep was maybe, I don't know, £600 or £700. So I thought, there's still some profit in this. Then on the drive back, I mean, it was a wet, horrible day. It wasn't like today at all. But every time I tried to put any power down, you just get the traction warning light and it would sort of blip. You just couldn't put the power down. At first I thought, well, I'm in a rear-wheel drive car and it's a horrible wet day, maybe it's just that, but that wasn't the case. So I ran it back down to my mechanics, where it had a further, I don't know what my bill is exactly. I've got it there, I'll go through it with you in a second. I think about £600 on various bits of ABS things, ABS rings, ABS sensors, all that sort of stuff. Also, when they scanned it, it was coming up with a full DPF. So it's had a full DPF regen and a very extensive road test just to make sure it's all clear. In real terms, what that means is I've massively overspent. I know what you're thinking, shock. But I suppose then it should be worth it because there should still be some profit in this. I picked it up from the car wash this morning because after it had been to my mechanics for a second time, it looked a little bit sorry for itself, so I took it back to the car wash just for a wash and dry. And it does kind of still look the part. I mean, it's an M Sport, so it's got the right sort of stance. I haven't bothered refurbishing the wheels. I've spent too much in it really, and at what point do you draw the line on a 12-year-old car? I think on this occasion I'll leave them unless I have to do them at point of sale. I've got this advertised on my website now at $4,795. I was going to put it on at $4,995. In fact, I might do that. It'll either be on at $4,995 or $4,795. So I suppose it's a lot of car for the money really, isn't it? I don't like them, I don't rate them at all. As this whole little journey's confirmed. They're often owned by people who don't bother maintaining them at all. They think that an MOT includes a service, those kinds of people. And then I end up inheriting something which needs a load of money spending on it. That's always the case. Anyway, let me pull up here in this nice little lay-by with that nice view for you all. And I'll talk you through my costs. Here we'll do then. Look at that view. Beautiful. Right. I can't believe this, by the way, but the air conditioning works. I put this on today thinking, there's not a chance that's going to work. And it does. Ice cold. Right, let me go through my bills then. The first one I found then in my little miserable collection of bills on my phone is for the upholstery guy. So, strip offside front seat, replace base, panel, rear panel, repair ripped side panel, fit new foam to base, and bolster and refit. Quite a lot of work there. That was £160, which actually I think is a bit of a bargain. Now my first bill at my mechanics was MOT test fee, oil filter, oil, various bulbs, rear brake discs and pads, so like I say, just standard stuff really, nothing frightening. A wear wire on the rear brake pads, that was £12, wiper blades, because they were buggered, and 2 reg plates. It's a battery light because I'm sat with the ignition on, don't panic. So my total there was £357 plus the VAT, plus the MOT, so £420. So at that point I thought, I can live with that, that's not too bad. My next bill was my bill for my body shop, so that was £465. Then, what else have we got? We've got £70 for a valet, and then, yes, the bill was so large on this one series, my mechanic ran out of printer ink. Lovely. So the reason it couldn't put the power down was because it had a faulty ABS ring, near side rear, ABS sensor, near side rear, so that was £25 and £40. They had to put some fuel in it for a extensive test drive, that was £20. DPF forced regen and driven regen, a load of labour at £337, and also a brake vacuum sensor at £122.50. So my total there was £653.39. Let's work this out then. So I paid £2,500 for the car, so £2,500 plus 65339, £70 for a valet, plus my first bill, which was £420.65, plus the upholstery bill. So that takes my total to, this is depressing, £4,269. Like I said, I've got this advertised at £4,795. I think I'm going to stick it up 200 quid. So if I can get £4,995 there or thereabouts for it, it should leave me with a profit of £730 before that, before tax, before my overheads. Not great business that, is it, to be fair, but you win some, you lose some, I guess, don't you? So, thank you once again for watching. I don't want to rip the sump off on one of these big bumps. There's a 1 series there, look. Thanks once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.